This is okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome in our webinar, June edition of our webinar. Thank you for joining us, every one of us that are right now on the call. Last month, we talked about data analysis, and this June edition is another section, digital marketing. This is coming from Jufia Academy, a training center in Lagos, covering Nigerian exams, preparing students for JAMB, WAEC, NECO, GCE, foreign exams, IELTS, TOEFL, GMAT, GRE, and computer courses from zero computer to tech world. You are free and ready to learn from basic computer to any major course right away. We are right in this meeting this hour with Mr. Innocent, and he'll be taking us on a very important topic, digital marketing. Remember, this coming to you from Jufia Academy. This June edition of our free section. God bless you. I welcome Mr. Innocent. Innocent, you can continue.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Innocent, and today I'll be taking you on digital marketing. So, to really understand digital marketing, there's a lot of things that we need to know. It's not just about logging into your social media account and start with boosting of posts and all of those things that you see there by default. Instead, we are going to go through some of the things that you don't see right off the bat. Firstly, I'd like to talk about understanding businesses. First, you have to understand businesses. Once you understand the business, you have to understand marketing objectives, key performance indicators, the business model, and some of those basic things that constitutes a business. These are the things I'd like us to talk about today. All right. Please, if you are seeing the screen I'm sharing, can quickly give me a thumbs up, maybe in the chat or something, just to be sure. Just to be sure. Can I get any indication that someone is seeing the screen I'm sharing, please? Okay, thank you. So today we are going to be looking at digital marketing. And if you are like me, every day you go to social media, you see some kind of a ad. Social media includes YouTube and all the other platforms that we have. It's loaded with ads. And sometimes you wait for a couple of seconds, maybe 5 seconds, to be able to skip maybe the ad to move to the video you are watching. Today, we are going to see how digital marketing works in a nutshell, some of the mindset you should have before going into marketing. And then by tomorrow, God willing, we'll be able to do a little bit of example to show you how you can be able to market your business, market your service, or even market your brand. So let's start with the basics. by answering the question, what is digital marketing? What is digital marketing? Well, digital marketing refers to the use of digital channels, platforms, and technologies to promote products, services, or brands to a target audience. That simply means that ad you are seeing is not just showing up for no reason. It's showing up because somebody somewhere who is selling a product or who is trying to market a service has targeted you. The person created an audience and you happen to fall into that audience. That is what it means. So if there's anything you should take away from this definition, is the fact that digital marketing targets a specific audience. All right. So every marketing campaign is trying to sell to a target audience, at least either products, services, or brand. In this case, we call it Flora's Secret. This can be any of the other brands you've seen on social media. This is what digital marketing is all about. Point out is digital marketing is also more than just you targeting people with your product, your services, or your brand. Digital marketing is more. And digital marketing is about building and having relationships with people. It involves getting to know the other person, making them interested in you, connecting, building, and maintaining trust over a long period of time, beyond just the first purchase, or beyond just that first contract you got, or beyond you showing up on their feed with the name of your brand, ABC Logistics. It's beyond that. And this is why I said it's not just about going to your maybe your Facebook dashboard, your Facebook page dashboard, and then you see your previous post, and then there's a button here that says boost post. All right, clicking on it to maybe get more attention. It's more than that. It's all about you taking your time to understand who your target audience is. It's all about you even understanding the business you are doing. Because a lot of people market their business to others, but they don't really know much about their business. In this case, everybody on this call, if we want to go into digital marketing, for example, you are not going to be marketing your own product. Most of the time, you'll be marketing products for people. Sometimes you'll be marketing their services. Sometimes you'll be marketing their brand. So the question is, do you understand that product? Do you understand that service? Do you understand that brand? Because if you don't know the business, if you don't know the product or the services, how can you communicate that to other people? Maybe somebody that is in a different city or even in a different part of the world. Because with digital marketing, we can bring our product to the doorstep of people living on different continents. So it takes your understanding of that product, of that service, or of that brand to really market or communicate the tone or put your message together in a way that is in line with the business you are trying to market for. All right. So some of the questions you may have asked yourself, or maybe one of the questions you would have asked yourself would be, who click on those ads? Do people click on them? You ask. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, the digital marketing industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. A lot of people are in it. A lot of people make money from it. So yes, people click on it. A whole lot of people click on it. An example is when you Google how to bake maybe cake, and Google suggests a list of websites for you. You click on that website to, read an article. While you are reading that article, you see some ads from different companies showing up on that website. Now, the website you just visited makes money just by you seeing that ad. The company whose ad is displaying on that website paid a third-party company to put that message in front of you. So people click on it. Just by looking at it even, you've gotten the message in your head. Or maybe it's the logo of that brand. You can already describe the logo in your head. As you keep seeing that brand, as it keeps popping up, over time, subconsciously, you begin to develop knowledge or awareness of that brand. So yes, people click on those ads. People click on them. Like I said, digital marketing as well is an evolving industry. All right, it's a mix of both art and science. Art because, in a nutshell, the art creative you put up online. So the art creative in this case would be the video you use or the image you use for your art. It involves art. But then when you run your ad, what do you get back in return? You begin to get metrics, a dashboard showing numbers, grading or categorizing the number of people between this age and this age that have seen your ad, where they are from. All of these numbers is also part of science. So you have to look through these numbers to understand what is really going on with the ad campaign you have launched. So it's a mixture of both art and science. And in a landscape where forms and formats continue to evolve. For example, the digital marketing approach in the let's say in the past 10 years is not the digital marketing approach we have now. Why? Because things has changed. Unlike traditional marketing that involves the use of billboards, flyers, and all of that, with digital marketing, you can reach your audience anywhere they are, anywhere in the world. So because of that, it is very, very, very powerful. Digital marketing also is an important part of every business and potentially an exciting career option in case you want to dive into it. Now, a good marketing strategy does not focus on one channel. Now, when I talk about channel in this case, that could mean the social media platform you use or email or any kind of platform that can be used for marketing generally is what we call a channel, all right? It doesn't focus on just one channel in isolation. Instead, the approach is to market as a system that involves many parts and many customer touch points or pain points. When I talk about pain points, whenever you market, you are trying to address an issue that you feel your target audience has. For example, somebody who just moved into Lagos State, Nigeria, could have a problem of not knowing how to get in touch with, let's say, a good real estate company to get or rent a house. What do? That simply means this customer or this potential customer has a problem. That is what we call a pain point. So how do you now target your digital marketing in a way that addresses that pain point? This is why we said it involves many parts. and it touches and cuts across different customer pain points. Now, platforms and marketing tools also change. If you're like me that goes through the different marketing dashboards that we have, like Google Ads, Facebook, Instagram, and the likes, you discover that almost every time you come after maybe a little while, right? You see some things has changed. Some things has changed. New things have been introduced almost all the time. So because of this, it's good to have a framework that you use whenever you are trying to market, and not just go into the platform and start, typing things out. And we are going to look at the framework towards the end of today's class. So everything has to fit together. And with this framework, you'll be equipped to place and understand these new tools and make them part of your digital marketing practice on a daily basis. Before I got started, I said something about, before I started sharing my slides, I said something about understanding the business you are marketing for. The business you have in mind is not the same with the business I've worked with, because every business is unique. Although they have shared goals, but most businesses are unique. So some of the things you can do as someone who is trying to market is to understand the core components of a business. The core components of a business. What does that look like? Well, we can start with revenue. In other words, how does the company or the brand, how do they make their money? In this case, we call it revenue. Understanding how the brand or how the company makes money. Another thing that is also part of this business component is the cost, because there's no business that operates without a cost. So that simply means, what does it cost the company or the brand to produce the products they are selling or the services they are rendering? What does it cost that company to produce? Then, what are the products and services that they have? And how does it benefit the customers? You have to understand this business. And these are some of the things you have to know. Then, the customers. Who are they? How do they interact with you? You have to understand all of this. Now, I want you to look at that revenue. Depending on the kind of business you are dealing with, it may not always be a revenue. In this case, we've swapped out revenues for donations. We've swapped out revenue for donations. So what does that mean? Well, making money is not always revenue, because in the case of a charitable organization, a non-governmental organization, it is also called donations. So you will not want to say revenue. Remember, I said you don't know the kind of business you're marketing for. So understanding that if it's a profit, if it's for profit, if the company is for profit, right, you can call that revenue. But if it's a non-profit, then you can call that donations. Because an NGO could start up last week, contact me and ask me to market for them. In this case, I'm not going to be looking for how they make money via revenue. No, I'd look for how they get donations. Right. That's why I just want to point that out. Now, making money does not always mean gross revenue. It can also mean the profit. And how do you determine the profit? It's when you take the amount that was made and you subtract the cost from it. That is how you get the profit. This is basic maths. But yes, it is important we put this in here so you know. Because with this, we are trying to learn about the company you are trying to market for, or you are going to market for. One other question you'd have to answer as you prepare to market for a business is, business life cycle. What does it mean? In science class, we were taught something, water cycle, how water gets from the cloud to the soil, from the soil back to the cloud. In this case, you want to know exactly where this business is in its life cycle, because every business is definitely in a particular place within a business life cycle. In a business life cycle, we have 4 stages. 4 stages. All right. I just made mention of maybe a new NGO that started last week that contacted me. Where does that fall in the business life cycle? You have to know. What if it's a company that has been operating for the past 10 years? Where does it fall within the business life cycle? You'd have to know. What if it's a company that has been existing for the past 85 years? Where does it fall? You'd have to know. But don't be confused, because for the fact that the business has been operating for the past 85 years doesn't place it in any particular category. The way you measure where a business is in its life cycle is by the return, is by the revenue, is by the profit. So let's take a look at some of this. The first thing we are going to look at is the startup. The startup. Why are we even looking at this, you may ask? We are looking at this because depending on where the business is in its life cycle, that determines the kind of digital marketing you do, or that influences the goal of your marketing. Yes, the place a business is in its life cycle, that determines the kind of digital marketing efforts you'd want to put out, as well as the kind of goal you'd have to set. Take, for example, our new NGO just started up last week. Well, it is considered a startup because it just started, right? So for this, we are not going to say our goal is to, let's say, make or gain a whole lot of donation. No, we can't do that, because at this point, people are not even sure if we are a legitimate company. So you see how the marketing goals would differ from a company or from an NGO that have been operating for the past 36 years. They are not on the same level, because this one just started last week. So this can be considered a startup. Now, a company that has existed for the past 5 years can still be considered a startup. A company that has existed for the past 5 years, for the past 15 years can still be considered a startup. Why? Well, so many factors can contribute to why it should be a startup. Yes. If other companies of that same, that started at the same time with that company has, let's say, a customer base of about 15 million people, and this other company still has about 10,000 people, you can't compare a company that started 15 years ago that has 10 million people and a company that started 15 years ago with 10,000 people. They are not on the same level. You see, this will move these two companies to different stages in this business life cycle. You'd have to understand that part. All right. So what are some of the goals a business that is currently starting up or that is in the startup phase? What are some of the goals that they should have? For example, creating awareness for the brand. Remember the first time you came across an ad online promising you heaven and earth? The first thing that came to mind was, is it legit? Is this a legitimate brand? You have some of your questions. If this brand is not able to answer this question, trust me, you are not going to give them that full trust. And this is why we said a startup business would have different goals or different marketing objectives. And like we said, one of the first one is to build awareness. Or it could even be looking for products that fits their budget, or to generate or get in touch with their first customers or their first leads. So what should digital marketing focus look like for a startup company? It will be things like branding and positioning the company. You want to create a strong brand name for that company and position it in a way that we create a strong online identity. For example, your logo, your website, your social media profiles, active, top-notch. This could be some of the things they'll focus on in terms of digital marketing. In terms of content marketing, a brand that is considered a startup can create and educate their target audience in order to build trust through things like blogging, videos, as well as lead magnets. Now, I'm using some kind of terminologies here. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to go through some of these terminologies. But basically, creating content that will attract people to the brand is what I mean. On social media, we could use social media as well as brand influencers or social media marketing influencers in order to gain traction and visibility quickly. Now, I want to give an example of what I mean by influencer marketing. For some of us that are on social media, I can say almost everybody is on social media on this call. We've seen where maybe some of our top creators, people that we like watching their videos or enjoying their videos, create maybe skits. And then within that skit, they use that skit as an opportunity to introduce a brand to you. Some will be marketing platforms like cryptocurrencies or Forex trading platforms. That is what we call influencer marketing. Now, because you like that social media content creator, you can say, because this guy is marketing this product, I trust this brand. That is what influencer marketing is. So the first stage in understanding where a business is in its life cycle, a business starts from the startup phase. Then the business goes to the growth phase. So this is when a business has operated for a period of time, gained a little bit of momentum, a little bit of brand awareness. A whole lot of people now know this company to do this thing or sell this kind of product. After a while, the business goes to the growth phase. And in this growth phase, the goals will change. The goal for that company or for that brand will change slightly. This time around, some of their marketing goals will be something like how to scale their customer or how to increase their customers. They already have a pool of customers. They are looking for how to now add more customers. Remember, in the first stage, we are looking at creating awareness for the brand, for people to even recognize our brand to offer this kind of service or sell this kind of product. That is the first thing we were looking at when we were in the startup phase. Now that we are in the growth phase, we are looking at how to scale. The next thing we also want to do is to increase our brand recognition. So if the brand is known within just a single state, we want to now scale out of that state for other people, neighboring states, or even the entire state within the country to know about our brand. Another thing we could also look at is something like customer retention. Customer retention is when somebody buys or partners with you on a project or gives you a contract. After you are done with that contract, you want them to still come back. That is what customer retention is. Remember how somebody buys something and say, please don't forget us next time. It's like you trying to tell the person to remember you. That is customer retention. Then at this stage, the digital marketing focus will change slightly as well. For example, remember in the first phase we talked about things like websites and all of that. This time around, maybe they want to look at how to improve things like search engine optimization for their website. They want to get into things like, after acquiring leads, email leads, they will begin to now nurture those leads and onboard users to some of their products by introducing them to some of their other products. Because the first day you step into the market as a brand, if you say, I have this thing to sell, people will not trust you because they don't know you. This is why it has to go from one phase to another phase, gradually. Let's look at the third phase, a mature company. This is a company that has been around for a while, that has a lot of customer base. This time around, their focus will not really be on how to get their name out there. Their name is really out there. All they just need to do now is maybe how to increase the profit they make. So their goals will differ from a company that is in the growth phase or for a company that is a startup. So goals will look like this: maximizing market share, defending your brand position, or even deepen your customer loyalty. In the growth phase, we are talking about working on our customer retention. This time around, you've retained your customers. You are even trying as much as you can to make sure that if it is not your brand, they don't buy elsewhere. That is what I mean by deepening customer loyalty. A company that is in the growth phase, in the mature phase, can also look at even expanding into new segments or new sectors within the same industry. You know how a bank starts, then after a while, they go into things like pensions. Before you know it, they go into things like, this point of sale and all of those things. That's an example of what I mean by going into new segments or new sectors within the same industry. At this stage in the company's life cycle, a mature company will have different kind of marketing approach to a company that is in the growth phase or a company that is in startup. Things like reinforcing why customers should stick with you. Just like I said, deepening customer loyalty. How to even turn your users or your customers into advocates for your brand. Things like, now, when it comes to the marketing aspects now, they can use multiple channels now because they know that a segment of their customer is on TikTok, a segment of their customer is on LinkedIn, a segment of their customer is on Facebook. So they can now put together multiple channel campaign or multi-channel campaign by using things like email, the regular ad campaigns you see, search engine optimization, video, content, and all of that. But just like we said, you see how this graph has moved from up, then it goes like this. Now it's at the top. When companies grow, sometimes that growth cannot be sustained over a long period of time. This brings us to the last phase of a brand or of a business: decline. A company that is decline. A company that is in decline. What this simply means is that company has enjoyed a good, it is experiencing a downturn. It has gone up and the brand is now going out of fashion. If you just look around you, if I maybe at some point was a household name, and then after a while, nobody hear about them anymore. You could say things like BlackBerry. You could say things like maybe Nokia. In Nigeria here, of course, Nokia is one of them. Back in the day, if you don't have Nokia phone, well, you are not there yet. Before the coming of BlackBerry, that is. But at this time, the company Nokia is still in the market. But in Nigeria here, how many people use Nokia phone? You can't tell. So that's an example of a company in decline. So if a brand like this comes to you and say, we want you to market for us, how do you go about it? You use what? A different approach. So your marketing goals has to change. So what does that look like? You look at how to reignite interest in your product or in your service. You also have to find things like new value propositions. For example, what was your messaging before? It has to change. Some companies even pivot or they relaunch. Some companies move from that industry to another industry. Or what they'll do is to rebrand their company. That's what some people do. For a company like this, well, the digital marketing focus is not going to be the same for a mature company, nor for a company that is experiencing growth, nor for a company that is a startup. So this is where you have to use things like your loyal customers to drive repeat sales. The customers have been with you, like there are some people that still use Nokia up till today. This could be considered loyal customers. You try as much as you can to keep organic traffic alive. When we talk about traffic, we are talking about the people that either visit your website, the people that frequent your store, the people that interact with your business. That's what we mean by traffic. So those people that come in, you want to make sure you keep them. Yes. And then one of the things we also do is to learn from your audience. In other words, your customers. You'd have to. Because most people see customer feedback as complaint. But you can't see customer feedback as complaint. You see customer feedback as them telling you what they would like. And you are in the market to do what? To cater to their pain points. Some of the things that they have, you'd want to what? You want to cater to those things. So listen to them. Now we are going to quickly listen to Madam Sophia. She has a thing or two to tell us, and then we'll continue from here. And while she's talking, please, if you have any question on some of the things I've said so far, please, you can leave it in the chat. While she's talking, you can be typing in the chat. Then once she's done, we pick it up and then wrap up.
Okay, thank you, everyone. This is coming to us from Jufia Academy. So basically, it's a webinar, free webinar, and many of us have been on with us since January. We've been on it. Last month, we took data analysis, and this one is another important section. Thank you for joining us. Remember, this program covers our local exams, Nigerian exams. We take through computer courses, basic computer, from zero computer to tech world, where we teach cybersecurity, ethical hacking, digital marketing, data analysis. We also cover video editing and graphic courses, as well as foreign exam, prepare students for IELTS, test for English. For those of them going to UK, Canada, US, test for English, TOEFL, GRE, GMAT. These are a foreign exam preparation, while we also take students for Nigerian exams, basically WAEC, NECO, JAM. Right now, we're currently taking in students for post-UTME. So sit tight and have a nice moment, and make sure you are jotting down important information. We're in information age. There is no level you know that you wouldn't want to know again. That's the stage of life where every one of us is. And at this moment, let's build up capacity. There are a whole lot of set goals. And one of the major goals that we must add into our list of goals is learning the tech world, where it has come to stay. Moving from one edition to another edition. If you know this, now learn to develop yourself to move into the next one. Also in Jofia Academy, you can do physical classes as well as online section. So wherever you are on the surface of the earth, you can hook up for the classes. So I welcome Mr. Innocent again as we wrap up for this section. God bless you.
All right. Thank you. Now, do we have any questions? Please, if there's any question, you can leave it in the chat. If there's any question, leave it in the chat, please. If you have any question on what I've said so far, maybe something that's not clear, can leave it in the chat before we wrap for today. Okay, I'll continue, but while I'm at it, if there's any question that comes up, just leave it in the chat. All right. Now, moving on, I also want to talk about websites. Most people focus on social media and they don't take websites serious. As long as you are online, one of the things I can say is your website is your biggest real estate when it comes to the online space. Reason being that if you are on social media, there are some things that are not allowed. You can't put some things on social media. Or maybe you post a video, somebody tells you this video has been copyrighted and so many things. I'm not saying it's okay to use copyrighted content. I'm just simply saying that the social media space is limited to some extent. But when you have your own website, that is where you have the 100% liberty to create products, to create services on that platform and enjoy 100% of the profit. Some social media platforms cannot do some of the things that you can do on your website. All right, so pay close attention to websites because there's no big brand you see out there without a website. That's one of the things I just want to quickly talk about before I move to the next thing, which is search engine optimization. Search engine optimization is basically done on a website. All right, you must have a website first before you can start talking about doing search engine optimization. So what is search engine optimization in a nutshell? It's simply positioning your website to show up on search engines. This search engine can be Google, can be Bing, can be Yahoo, it can be any of the search engines we have. That way, you are going to be getting organic traffic to your website without having to pay for it. But you cannot do all that without a website. All right. Most websites get thousands of visits per week. And this traffic comes from search engines. Some come from their social media. So search engine optimization is very, very important, and it's something that has been around for a while. So I would also say you'd have to key into this, especially if you want to be a digital marketer. Now, we've talked a little bit about business and all of that. Let's talk a little bit more about your target audience. In this case, your customers or your buyer, the person who is buying from you. And I want to quickly explain the concept of buyer's journey. Buyer's journey. That is the person who is buying from you. How they get to, first of all, know about your brand, to buying from you eventually. That is what we call the buyer's journey. The buyer's journey has 5 stages. Different people will come up with, of course, the buyer's journey is not something that is universal. Different people have different ways of calling them. Some buyer's journey has only 4 stages, but in this case, we are going to be looking at 5 stages of the buyer's journey. Now, buyer's journey in digital marketing outlines the step or the stages a customer typically goes through before, during, or after making a purchase. It is often broken down into 5 stages. The first stage is the awareness stage, interest stage, desire stage, action stage, and post-action stage. Now, here is a breakdown with practical examples. First stage, awareness. This is when the customer becomes aware of a problem. In other words, this person discovers that there is a need. For example, somebody who wants to learn a skill on his way back from maybe an outing or from the office. He's in the bus and all of a sudden he's just, he's just aware that, I can actually learn this thing. All right. That is when you are aware that there's a need to do something. All right. And because of this need, because of this awareness, this person starts looking for information. This person starts looking for information. The digital marketing tactics that we employ in the awareness phase is using things like creating blog posts. You can't create a blog post without a website. You see the importance of the website I mentioned earlier. Using social media posts, using display advertisements, or even YouTube videos that addresses that curiosity the person has, that question the person is asking. That is what we call awareness. When you are open to the problem you have, that is the awareness stage. And that is one of the journeys buyers go through or your customers go through. Let me point this. One day, while browsing through Instagram, she comes across a sponsored post. When I talk about a sponsored post, that simply means an advertisement that has been maybe running on a social media platform, in this case on Instagram, about top 5 ergonomic office chairs for remote workers. So she clicks out of curiosity, just like you and I. If you've been on Instagram, There are some things that have appealed to you and it just pops up and you click on it. That is the point of interest we're talking about. Sorry, that's the point of awareness we're talking about. So once you become aware of your problem, the next stage is interest. The next stage in the buyer's journey is interest. And the interest stage is now that the customer is aware that there's a problem, they start exploring solutions and learning more about whatever it is that they are going through. What we are trying to say here by explaining the buyer's journey is at every stage in the buyer's journey, good digital marketer is supposed to have a content or an ad that tries to address that problem at that stage. This could be a product review you see on YouTube, trying to tell you about your back pain. And then you stay there and you watch. If that person has a solution, the person is going to say, there's a link in my comment section, or there's a link pinned in the comment section or in the video description that takes you to, you've seen all of these things online. That post on YouTube was created for the awareness stage. Now in the interest stage, the person knows there's a problem. So the person is looking for more information. If you're like me, when you want to buy anything online, you don't just click or buy from the very first person that you see or the very first product you see. No, you are curious. Maybe there are better brands. Maybe there are better designs. So because of this, you continue to explore. This is you showing interest. So digital marketing tactics people can use here almost the same thing. You could use things like all of this, including things like email newsletter, or you write an in-blog blog article, or even a comparison, a comparison video that shows why your own brand or why your own product is better than others. This is the interest stage. Then we also have the third stage, which is desire. Now, in this desire stage, the customer narrows down their choices and they begin to develop a preference for a particular brand or for a particular product. And because of these, customers sometimes rely on things like customer testimonials, product videos, case studies, or influencer reviews to finally make that choice. So let's say Sarah watches customer testimonial videos on the site and read product reviews about that very chair. She likes one specific chair that offers a money back guarantee. And these are some of the things that digital marketers use to make that purchase. Or she sees an email that offers 10% off her first purchase. This is the third stage. Now, the fourth stage is action. The action stage is when that customer decides to buy and they actually buy from you. All right. So how can you facilitate them to take action? How can you help them take action easily? The digital marketing tactics we use here is to make sure that there is a clear call to action. For example, on the website where the chair is listed, you see a button that says buy now. You create easy checkout process because there are people who go to websites to buy, but they don't know how to even go about making purchase on the website. So you making sure that when somebody wants to make a purchase, the process is easy for them can be the marketing tactics you deploy. You can even offer them free shipping. That could be just what pushed them over the line. This is the stage 4 of the buyer's journey. Then, finally, the post-action. That is after they've made the purchase. So after purchase, effort now focus on keeping the customer happy and encouraging them to buy more. That is basically what it is. The last time you bought something from an online platform, not long you got email from them telling you about their other products. Or when it's time for Black Friday, they give you email. Some post-action could be follow-up emails, customer loyalty programs, or even customer support. Somebody calling you to check up on you to see if the product you bought is working the way it's supposed to work, or if you are having any problem using that product. All of this is part of the buyer's journey. So let's say a week later, after Sarah makes that purchase for the chair, she receives a thank you email with a guide on how to set up the chair. A month later, she got a referral link offering to, give her $20 if she can refer a friend. All of these are digital marketing tactics that are employed or deployed at different stages in the buyer's journey. One of the things I must mention is this: the buyer's journey is not linear. The buyer's journey is not linear. It's not like once you move, you must go through all of this space. No. That's not how the buyer's journey works. First of all, somebody may want to buy before they even discover your brand. You understand? Somebody may be at the desire stage before they become aware of your brand. So the buyer's journey is not always the same. It's not always linear. It doesn't go from stage 1 to stage 5 all the time. It's haphazard. It's all over the place. Just keep that in mind as we close for today. By tomorrow, we start with the digital marketing framework. This is going to teach us the different frameworks or the different things we need to know in order to come up with a framework whenever we are thinking of creating a marketing campaign. And then once we are done with the digital marketing framework, we also see an example of how to put all of this framework how to put this framework into use by creating a sample campaign. All right, so I want to quickly answer some of the questions that I have in the chat before, if there is any. Okay. Okay, someone is thanking Ms. Sophia for the advice. Okay, unfortunately, we don't have any question in the chat. I guess that simply means whatever I have said today, we all understood. And if that's it, I want to thank you all for joining us today. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Innocent. Thank you for that explosive section. I want to appreciate as many that made it today. This is the one of the webinar for the June edition. I believe it has been informative. It is a continuous program that will also continue tomorrow, day 2. Like I said, this program is coming to us from Jofia Academy, a tutorial center in Lagos, where we cover students for Nigerian exams, foreign exams, and computer courses. And this is one of the products from Jofia Digital Marketing. You can learn it anywhere in the world. In a digital space, in the computer world, we must learn to put up goals inclusive of digital courses so that we'll be able to be current with the present move of technology. Thank you for joining us. And remember, the program continues tomorrow. And also, this program is live on YouTube. You can watch it again and also share the link to someone to be able to join the free section, and will also continue next month. It's a monthly program that happens the last Friday and the last Saturday of the month. Just 1 hour, we stir ourselves up, provoke our minds, take strategic steps to move on to the next phase of our lives so that those things that we think that's too difficult to learn. We are debugging it, making it simpler for us to have first-hand information from experts so that we'll be able to move in and take decisive decisions to run even our set goals. God bless you. Thank you so much for everyone that joined us around Lagos, around the East, the West, the North, and outside the country. Thank you for joining us. My name remains Mrs. Sophia Kiwamu, and also joining us with other crew members. We appreciate as many that are behind the scene as technical crews. Thank you so much for the effort, and I appreciate the facilitator tonight. And we trust that you'll be able to join us again tomorrow. God bless you and have a beautiful day. Thank you.